Seattle businesses take the law into their own hands to combat homelessness, angering activists. Anytime I see something where it's angering activists, I'm going to read it. Business owners say eco-blocks are the only option to keep homeless encampments away from stores. Now, we've covered this. We've covered this in depth, which businesses are doing it, why they're doing it. This is becoming more of a thing. We just recently had a big homeless encampment in West Seattle, kind of south of downtown Seattle, have a sweep take place. Not one of those folks that had lived there for up to several years, not one of them took the offer of services to be moved inside. They just want to do their own thing, live outside. So businesses in these areas are forced to drop these enormous 1 to 2 ton concrete blocks so that you can't park an enormous RV. Yeah, it's just kind of the Wild West. So the businesses are like, all right, the city's going to fine us for these people living illegally. Okay, how does that work? Yeah, this is all gonna come to a head at some point, and people are just going to be fighting mad. Businesses already are, to the point where they're willing to pay these fines for these eco blocks because they don't have any other options, and the city isn't doing anything about it. The city can't. I mean, the city could. They're doing their best to do these sweeps, but they got several hundred homeless encampments. So cities let this go. So they're behind the 8 ball already. So these businesses, they want to stay in business. They want to have their employees and their customers and their business structures not impacted by this. I mean, what are we even paying taxes for, right? They drop these eco blocks, and then it prevents people from living outside of their businesses illegally. Got to drop an illegal concrete block to stop an illegal presence from happening. Businesses and property owners in Seattle are installing 1-ton concrete blocks on city streets to prevent RVs and homeless encampments from forming or returning to an area. Because we talk about the whack-a-mole, where, yes, do a homeless sweep here, boom, they show up a block away. That's just what they do. They're not going to go away. They're not going to just, get in their maybe operational RV and drive off into the sunset, never to be seen again. No, they just go a couple of blocks away, because why wouldn't they? The city has made this an option. It's free-addle. We'll take care of you. It's all right. We'll come by and pump out your RV. We'll help you get things going. Whatever you need. We're here for you. Except they're not there for the businesses and for the homeowners in these areas. They've just basically abandoned these folks. Individual businesses and residents are putting ecology blocks. I love it that they're called ecology blocks. I think that just sounds so green. Ecology blocks out as taking matters in their own hands, because if they call the city and say there are RVs out in front of their business or out in front of their home, they don't do anything about it. Business owner J.D. Harvey told the Seattle Times, anonymous Seattleites have hauled the massive 1 to 2 ton blocks known as ecology blocks or eco blocks using special equipment. Yeah, they come on these massive flatbeds. They got this crane and just drop them down. And when you can still park a regular sized car. When the 72-hour rule hit after the pandemic, it was like a couple of months ago. All right, we're doing the 72-hour rule again, which means you can't park your car in Seattle for more than 72 hours in the same spot. I've been aware of that because every now and then I've got a spot in a marina over in Seattle, and it's near probably 3 or 4 homeless encampments. One of them is just really rough. So I'm aware of that. So I don't leave my car anywhere for, a day or two more than that, even though I'm in like a semi-secured marina place. But what we're seeing is that they'll sweep out the homeless encampments, and then they put in the ecology blocks, and then normal people in the area that are working there can actually use the street parking. It's a novel concept because they don't put the ecology blocks so close together that you can't park a regular car. You just got a parallel park in between these ecology blocks. To me, that's fine. You just can't park, a 20 or 30 foot RV. So using special equipment outside residential areas and in front of businesses to prevent RVs from parking and homeless encampments from forming endlessly. I added endlessly, because that's what goes on. And it's just these folks are like, all right, it's Seattle. Let's just go hang out there. Going to live in our RV on the street. And that's not it's a thing in Seattle, but it shouldn't be. And we wonder, how we get to here. Seattle has struggled with homelessness issues for years, which only worsened during the pandemic. And that's what a lot of this is addressing. Issues that popped up during the pandemic because we kind of cut ties with all rules. We got the coronavirus might hit us. So, stop doing everything. Stop all the sweeps, everything. Don't want to spread the Rona around. And as a result, homeless encampments just exploded, and they took over downtown, and we had, all this craziness, and we're slowly trying to, get the genie back in the bottle, but good luck with that. Seattle and King County ranked as the third area in the nation. Third area in the nation. Are you surprised by that? I'm not. With the most homeless people in 2020, roughly 11,700 people. Maybe you live in a smaller town. How many people are in your town? Do we have more people on the streets than in your town? Maybe so. Washington State ranks 5th across the country for its homeless population at 30 people per 10,000 residents. What I'm always kind of curious of is, where are these people from? Because rarely do you ever have anybody, I grew up here in Seattle and now I'm homeless. It's just not a thing. They're coming from all over. As far away as Florida, they come here because why wouldn't they? It's Seattle. They just come here and take advantage of our taxpayer dollars. And that's what our leadership is doing. Mayor Bruce, Seattle's mayor, he's cracked down. The only argument, he's not doing it fast enough, but because then the homeless encampments just set up, a block down the street. Yeah, I don't know if this is, I don't know what the solution here is, but you're going to have to drop the hammer. And in the meantime, I'm okay with these ecology blocks. Let's be honest. Businesses do what they got to do. And if they have to do something illegal, and I put illegal in air quotes because I don't see it as illegal. The city isn't enforcing the rules. Business owners got to take matters into their own hands and make things happen. And if it's for the safety of both their employees and their patrons, do what you got to do, right? Encampments in Seattle and in the country grew during the pandemic with a 50% increase in tents in the city's urban center. According to Seattle Times report, data from the King County Homeless Regional Authority reported that roughly 13,368 people were homeless in 2022, up nearly 14% since 2020 numbers. I think it's way more than that. I think the point in time count, it's so random how that happens. And, if it's hot weather when it happens, people are more outside or they're hunkered down somewhere, it's like, okay, are we really accounting for everybody we got going on here? 14%? I don't buy that for a second. I think these numbers are way low. I think it is way more than 13,368. That's just my opinion. Just kind of driving around going, God, that's a lot of people. Because I know of a couple hundred people within a very, very short radius from where I hang out over in Seattle. It's like, all right, that's to here. And this is Eastlake. And this is, a nice residential area. It's a lot of waterfront stuff, a lot of boats, a lot of boating, not close to the services really, kind of in no man's land. But there are literally, homeless encampments that, they're all around. Just in June, a local health club in the city alerted followers and members on social media that the gym would install eco-blocks near its building once a homeless encampment was cleared by the city. That was the one that they just cleared. Big homeless encampment. I can't believe this gym made it through that. Being shut down by the pandemic, that was ridiculous. Let's make everybody even weaker and no gym. I get it. You're lifting up weights and stuff, but you got ventilation in gyms that, is probably as good as anywhere. She's got people sweating and stuff. And people that go to the gym, they kind of know when they're sick. So to me, it was really irksome when they shut down the gyms. But anyway, this gym made it through West Seattle Health Club. And not one of the people living in that homeless encampment took the offer up of services to get them indoors. Not one? Interesting. Why would that be? I don't know. Justin, to avoid the return of the encampment, the West Seattle Health Club is partnering with our neighboring businesses to place eco-blocks along the surrounding area, the West Seattle Health Club said in a letter in June. Safety for patrons and employees is often a top concern for business owners, while businesses are worried about losing their livelihoods if they install the blocks. So you've got this back and forth. The city says, it's illegal. And the business owners will go, yep, so is the homeless encampment. And then there's this, this Mexican standoff, for lack of a better word. And it's like, okay, yep, all righty then. So, individual business owners are forced to make a decision. All right, if we want to keep going in this location, here's what we do. This is what we do. It's wild. It's wild that this is happening in a city in 2022, right? Having a business near a homeless encampment includes additional stressors and liabilities. Really? I recorded a podcast yesterday, and an activist literally came on and said, there's really no data that says there's any more crime that comes out of homeless encampments. I read the crime that happens coming out of the homeless encampments damn near every day. I'm close to reading something almost every day or talking about it. All right, yeah, did you hear that story about that one? Ooh, not good. It's to say that there's no crime coming out of, or that there aren't additional stressors, or that there aren't safety issues coming out of these homeless encampments is just a bald-faced lie. That's what that is. It is complete BS. It is. It just is. It's not like these people are just living happy-go-lucky lives. And the ones that don't want to be there, that's got to be super stressful. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I want to get into some housing and I'm working my way there. But in the meantime, you got to deal with a lot of folks that don't want to get into housing, and they're leading a lifestyle that some would say isn't very positive. Yeah, that's how we're going to leave that one. All right. So we've got these sweeps going on. We've got the eco blocks. We've got the ripple effects of working near the encampments has drained him. I came to work yesterday. Yeah, yesterday was a Monday. We had a homeless dude living out here. And, at first I'm like, oh man. And then my thought is that poor guy spent the night on the sidewalk and he's like my age. What's that feel like waking up in the morning to that? And then you go off and find your meal at the food bank? I mean, what's that day look like? So it's tough, right? A lot of these folks, we got to get some help, and letting them live where they live, that's not really helping them. That is not compassion. So installing an eco block on a city street is illegal, but the city has not forcefully demanded the block's removal. So the fines include a $250 penalty for the first time, $500 for the second, and $1,000 for the third violation. If I got one of these fines and I was a business owner, I would raise absolute heck. I would just start screaming. I would start a YouTube channel and I would just go ham with information to the city. Well, here's what's happened. Here's what's happened. Here's what's happened. Where are my elected officials? Now, Andrew Lewis in Seattle has addressed, hey, there's crime coming out of these homeless encampments. Maybe we should do what we can to help these folks out in living where they need to be living. We're spending, I think, City of Seattle spending $1,000,000-something bucks on creating a parking lot for the RVs, but we've tried that before. And you know why everybody left and wouldn't go to the parking lot that's dedicated for RVs, for people living outdoors or in their RVs? Got too dangerous. Even those folks were like, oh yeah, I'm not going there. That's too dangerous. We got a bunch of people living in RVs there. We're not doing that. You might get killed in there. So, I can't really blame these businesses for doing what they're doing, for these residents doing what they're doing with the eco blocks. And then the activists will say, well, they're rich people and they hate the homeless. No, they're trying to defend what should be a safe environment for their clients, their employees, and themselves as owners. And a city owes that to their residents. A city owes that to their residents. Really does. And the fact that we have to go to this length, I find it just, it's mind blowing, right? Oh, this is the solution. In 2022, this is the solution. You drop a 1-ton concrete eco block. Line them up, George, line them up. And then, you kind of force this impact away, and the city can't do that. Why is that? Progress, I guess. Very progressive, right? All right. That's enough here, but you know how I feel about eco blocks. I'm okay with it because it's people taking a stand, making a stand that they shouldn't have to make, but they've got to do it. And you're only going to push these RVs so far out. I mean, there's only so many spots where you can actually park an RV. So this isn't a solution. This doesn't really solve things. I don't know. The city's got so much work to do. In the meantime, I've got podcasts for days. All right. Thanks for being here on this one. Eco blocks, they're a thing still going on. Things are still worked up. Man, drop those eco blocks. All right. We'll catch up soon. Talk then. Bye for now.